Everyone, Marsh from Consequence here. This is going to be the last boss of the raid. The last raid guy, Gallywix. Now, there's no testing on this boss. There's no footage. It is all hypothetical. And I'm going to talk about some of the things that are possible. And hopefully I get 50% of them right. So, I could look at this document. And then this is just literally a copy paste of the dungeon journal with some ideas and how we think the fight should be handled. It's better instead of me reading all these abilities and going through it. I put it in the raid plan to make it more visual, but I do highly recommend that your guild kind of takes a look at the dungeon journal and talks about it as a guild so you all understand what's happening, because there's a lot going on, but is a lot of repetition. So the first thing here is you can look at the abilities here. Shatterblast Canister, but I didn't put the ability's name here. That's going to be up to you to go look and then cross-reference. But what we think it is, it's a beam. The boss is going to shoot. Also note that there's a strong chance that the boss doesn't move, at least on heroic. Later in this raid plan, I do have the boss moving, but I'm like really 50-50 on it. It could easily just stand in the middle the whole time. So keep that in mind when you are doing your prep. And I'll bring that up again. But we think he's going to do a beam. Depending on the scaling of the ability, you're either going to need to half your raid in there, or maybe 8 players-ish in. It's probably easier just to say half and half, but like Sarkarath, it might differ. So just feel it out, look at some logs. And this, you will need to soak the beam, and you get a healing absorb. And this will just alternate between the tanks, and you get the healing absorb off. So that's one of the core mechanics of this phase. Also in phase 1, the boss is just going to do the most goblin thing ever and just shoot a bunch of bombs and rockets at you. Is the easiest way of putting it. So it's just going to bomb the arena. It's just going to drop small bombs that are just going to blow up and go away. They're going to drop bombs that linger around. They're going to drop bombs that are targeted players that they need to stand solo, as you see here. They're also going to drop these big bombs. If you look here, this is called a 1,500-pound dud. But you can get these bombs here that the tanks need to take. And again, who knows where he's going to drop them? This is a guess. The reason I say life grip is because if you're using like a DK tank or someone's not very mobile, and the bomb spawns like over here, it might be worth the life grip. Just like a min-max thing. Probably not necessary in heroic. But yeah, that's a tank soak. And then you're going to have the suppression. The suppression is going to deny areas of the room. And you might need to move as a group. For all I know, the suppression is going to take up a fourth of the room. It's going to take up half the room. It could be a softened rage in P1. No idea. There's also going to be rockets that fire all over the room, and I'm assuming there's a lot more than 2. I just only put 2 in here. And that is P1. So it's just going to be truly a ton of bombs and dodging stuff. So, and then the tanks also have some things to worry about here. I don't usually talk about tank stuff because it's kind of up to your tanks to know what they're doing, in my opinion. But I will just point out that he's going to do a few mechanics here, like this Gatling cannon that does distance damage, a tank swap thing, and the 1,500-pound dud. I just want to point out in this fight, because the tanks do have some big responsibilities, as well as this is marked as a tank mechanic, this canister. So, unsure how that's going to work exactly. It's going to split damage, it's going to put a healing absorb, and then maybe the tank soaks something. I'm not really sure. So we're going to go into P2, and I'm using the spreadsheet a little, but you can see P2 here is like 50 abilities long, but it really just chops down to a few core things. And I'm just going to say the absolute core of the phase. You see here, I have the boss moving. it's like 50-50. He could just be dead center of the room. The reason I think he might move around is because there's two models for him. And in the Liberation of Undermine trailer, he was in like a rocket thing that looks like it moved. So who knows? But just to chalk up P2, you see Technician spawn, you kill Technician, you dunk this bomb into an active coil to deactivate coil. Then there's other ads and they just need to be kicked and killed. That is it. 2 bombs to deactivate a coil. When it blows up, it's going to do area denial. I don't know how big it's going to be. He also does this. This is all the bombs at once. I'll talk about that in a second. But that's the general gist of the mechanics here. So when you're looking at this and you look in the Dungeon Journal and you feel overwhelmed, oh my god, there's so much to do, just note that it's a little more simple than you think. The other thing I want to note here on... Actually, I'll talk about that in a second. I don't want to overwhelm. So the core mechanic is to kill these coils. These coils are going to be active. These coils are going to do damage. Right here, Giga Coils. And they're going to do things like a wave that comes out that might dot the whole raid. You know, who knows what you have to do with the wave here. And you're also going to have these ads that spawn. Sorry, there's so many mechanics in this phase. You're going to have, here we go, ads in P2. These Dark Fuse Technicians, these are the ones that drop bombs that you need to use to deactivate the coils, as I showed in the image. You have the ability to throw a bomb if you would like. And carrying a bomb in front of a Gigabomb control automatically detonates the Gigabomb. It's good. Gigabomb boom. Yep. And these ads are also going to juice up the damage on players within 10 yards. So keep that in mind. That is just doing like AoE damage. And then they are going to knock you back when they land. There's also going to be sentries. These sentries just need to be kicked. And then there's going to be a tank ad that just does damage to the tank. So those are the few core ads of that phase. And again, I'll go over this once more. It's really just chalks it up to add spawn, kill a technician, cleave everything else down and kick sentry, pick up bomb, dunk on active coil. 2 bombs required, and that's it. Now, there's a few interesting things with this bomb dunking mechanic. I think in the Mythic Journal it says you can't move with the bomb. So that's one thing to keep in mind. But you can throw the bomb. So if you did Cahoon, you might know what that's like. I'm not saying this boss is Cahoon. I'm not saying Warlock Gates are necessary. But you need to think about how you're going to handle this mechanic. In Heroic, you might just be able to have a fast class, pick it up, dunk. Or you can have classes throw to each other and then dunk. Like in a line like this, where you have your immobile classes here. Throw, throw, dunk. Throw, throw, dunk. Over and over and over. So we'll see how it pans out. But that is kind of the idea of this phase. Now, there's another part of this phase I want to talk about, and it's all the other mechanics. So that's the core mechanic of the phase, but a lot of the mechanics from the first phase are coming back with one with a twist. So you're going to have circles, but these circles, they need to be soaked by at least 1 person, ideally 2. And it's just going to do a healing absorb. So you can see here I've got 2 people in it, 2 people in it, and this person's soloing it. It's going to scatter a bunch of bombs around the room again. There's going to be tank soaks just like in P1. And then there's going to be rockets, which I only have 2, but I'm assuming there's going to be like 50 flying around the room as well. And I've kind of indicated here like, hey, this one's blown up. We need to deactivate the other coils. So that's P2. Now, the intermission, this is where Mythic actually starts. So Mythic doesn't have P1 and P2, by the way. It just starts intermission. So intermission is break a shield, milk and kick. And there's going to be lightning and bombs probably. I don't remember exactly. Lightning, break a 100 mil shield that's going to scale. The lightning will stun you. And the bomb is just going to ramp up damage and then do an enrage hit on you. So that's your classic shield mechanic. And then, so that's that's intermission. And then P3 here, you look at all these abilities. You can read them if you want in the dungeon journal, but it's the same thing as P1 and P2, but now it's together. So again, you have the bomb phase. Small rockets are going everywhere. This should not be here. But small rockets going everywhere. We think they're going to work like smolder on phase, or there's going to be small rockets going everywhere. Then there's going to be rockets that get targeted by players, get attached to players, and we think they're going to be smolder on waves. So that's a twist. You're going to have bombs, just like in P1 what the tank has to deal with. You're going to have bombs falling everywhere. You're going to have rockets going everywhere. Get away from the bombs. And then you're going to have a solo soak here. Just one person soaking the bomb. And that slide didn't look complete. So let me find TikTok canisters. It looks like one player soaks it and it gives a 9.4 million shield. So you're going from half the raid soaking to 2 to 3 people soaking to 1 person soaking. So this is the twist on that same mechanic. And then it's the same thing. So I don't know if the room's going to reset from P2, but same concept where you're still dunking these bombs all the time. I changed the boss's model because he had 2 models. What we think this actually is his death animation, where he's gonna like probably fall out of the thing. So he might not move the whole time, but I used a different model to keep it different. But yeah, it's basically the same as P1 and P2, and you just clump together. Now, a few things, like I mentioned that we don't really know too much about. It's like the wave. There's a wave that happens. We don't know how, like if that's just raid damage. We'll find out. But yeah, that's Gallywix, and Mythic is hidden. Mythic just has intermission and P1 being this P3 and then nothing else. So that's all I have for Gallywix. We'll probably do a little more investigation on some of the minor stuff before the raid comes out, but this is the gist. So hopefully these guides were helpful. Again, these are structured to be not flashy guides, just like a discussion that I ought to be having with my raiders on the boss, is what this basically is, and I'm just making it public. Other than that, good luck in the upcoming raid. I'll put out a tier list meme video as always after the last tuning. Last patch, I did it before the last tuning and it got shredded. So I'll put that out whenever I feel like I can. But yeah, good luck in the raid. I'm out, and I'll have live guides coming when live's out. Peace.